Good morning from the Water Utilization Learning Center. My name is Brian Olson. I'm out here with Mark Ryman, and we're standing out here in some wheat stubble that just recently got planted with a cover crop study. And so cover crops are definitely a hot topic right now. This is a collaborative research project with the University of Nebraska. But where do cover crops fit? That's really what we're trying to help determine by doing this type of research, because as we think about cover crops, obviously they're using water, and water out here in a water limited environment, especially on dry land, can be problematic. But we are trying to do this research, and so and assist with the understanding of where cover crops make sense. So Mark, what are some of the specifics of this research?
So what we're looking at is really, and we wanted to get some planted earlier, but it's been raining too much, but we got them in. We're going to have two different planting dates of cover crops to understand kind of that planting date effect on plant growth. And then we've got a winter hardy cover crop, and we've got like a forage sorghum that's getting very late for, but it's not winter hardy, obviously. And then we've got a diverse mix with oats, radishes, peas, and species like that. And what we're looking at is really what forage yield you can expect based on the planting date that you get it in. But again, it's been so wet, we've gotten a little more delayed in our planting date, but we'll see what happens, planted September 2nd, and then we're gonna have a date in about 2 weeks where we put the same cover crops in again.
Okay, so if we've got cover crops out there, and or the potential of using them in our system, and we got some, for example, some hail damage, what would be the benefit of putting a cover crop on that field?
Well, if it's a situation where you've lost almost everything, it's an opportunity if you have cattle to do grazing, or in an environment where you can potentially have a lot of wind and water erosion on like our irrigated ground and stuff like that. It's an opportunity to prevent that erosion, hold the soil. And then if you can get some species like legumes and things like that, you can, kind of make some nitrogen or like a green manure for your next crop season. And then crops like our small grains can actually capture some of the nitrogen maybe that's left over from that corn crop out there and kind of keep it there so that it'll be available next season for your next crop.
Yep, so you touched on an important point with cover crops. For example, if you're going into a field is going into winter time with very little residue out there, I think cover crops make good sense in getting that out there to get some ground cover to hold that ground so it doesn't blow over winter. Another potential option why you'd put in a cover crop is to suppress weeds such as kochia and mare's tail in the spring. But we do have a number of folks in the Midwest area that are using cover crops over large acreage, and so but when it comes out to the Great Plains, we really need to think about what we're trying to accomplish with a cover crop, and does it make sense in our system, because ultimately if that cover crop is not managed properly, it's going to have a detrimental effect to that next crop by using a lot of moisture, especially on dry land fields. But again, that's why we're also doing the research, and so this research with the University of Nebraska is in its first year, but we've also done some other work with them looking at the interaction of stubble height and cover crop, and actually seen some pretty detrimental effects of the cover crop on using moisture in a dry land situation. Any final thoughts, Mark?
Yeah, just one, as far as, cover crops, one of their uses for us that's important is grazing. And we know here on this site, what we've applied for herbicide, and that there's not any restrictions really as far as grazing those cover crops or using them for forage, but you might have to look at your herbicide programs on, if you've got something that's been hailed out, to make sure that it's okay to use that. I just don't want to encourage anyone to do something that would be off-label.
So think about what you're trying to accomplish with that cover crop. Look at the herbicides that have been applied to that field, and just make sure you're managing properly, because again, they can use a water that's going to impact the yields of your next crop. So with that, we'll talk to you in the future about other agronomic topics from the Learning Center.
Thanks for watching this video from the Gothenburg Water Utilization Learning Center. For more information, please call 308-537-4500.